Hello everyone. This past month, both teams have spent an ample amount of time researching on a topic that is important and relevant to us all. I believe both sides value teacher evaluation. However, what makes each team different is the design of teacher evaluations. In the affirmative team's cross-examination, they presented three questions for our team to answer. The first is, what other components would you propose as a comprehensive approach for teacher evaluations? Our team was able to come up with several different components that does not include student test scores and student evaluations in a comprehensive approach. Examples are trained administrator observations, peer assessment evaluations, teacher collaboration, commitment to professional development, and self-reflection. In the Letterman versus King's case, there was some clarification that the affirmative team would like for us to address. In the Letterman case, her final score was not given, but her final rating was ineffective, even with other measures such as observations. The issue is with design because no issue has yet been proven to be foolproof. So we would not include test scores in making high-stakes decisions until a valid and reliable evaluation model has been invented. The component used for teacher evaluations in New York included the value-added model. And finally, the third question is our objection using student test scores less about including this data in teacher evaluations and more about the designs of evaluations? Yes, our objection is the design of evaluations using student test scores, and an assumption was made in the affirmative team's cross-examination. The affirmative team stated that if student test scores should be used for teacher evaluations, whether it's summative or formative, then are we in agreement that test scores should be in teacher evaluations? We agree that there can be a place to include test scores for formative teacher evaluations, but not for summative teacher evaluations. Formative teacher evaluations are used to identify areas for improvement and targeted professional growth for the educator, and then the summative teacher evaluations is used to determine employment. Therefore, one cannot conclude that if we are in agreement of including test scores and student opinions for formative teacher evaluations, then we are also in agreement that test scores and student opinions should be included in summative assessments. Clearly, each assessment has its own purpose. In our closing argument, I will summarize how our team's position is superior and the affirmative team has not carried the burden of proof. We have been able to prove our position to why test scores and student opinions should not be included in teacher evaluations. Test scores should not be included because teachers account for only about 10% towards student achievement. Poverty is one of the largest contributing factors, and the value-added model is inconsistent and unreliable. Student opinions should not be included because of possible student biases. Teachers may appease to students to give them better grades. Attractive professors may get higher ratings. Minority teachers feel as though white students openly question their intellectual caliber, and there is some evidence that students give lower evaluations to women and foreign-born instructors. The affirmative team has not been able to carry the burden of proof for several reasons. First, the affirmative team stressed about a comprehensive and rigorous approach to teacher evaluations, but they never defined rigorous, nor do they justify why including test scores and student opinions allude to a comprehensive approach. Is including student opinions and test scores equivalent to a comprehensive approach? The affirmative team never addresses student evaluations, so our team felt both test scores and student opinions were of equal weight in this argument. The affirmative team left too many unanswered questions and research to support why both components should be included in teacher evaluation. In conclusion, I would like for each of you to pretend and put yourself in the shoes of two teachers, Mrs. X and Mrs. Z. Both graduated as top 10% in their teacher education preparation program, and both are also first-year teachers. Mrs. X teaches in an upper middle class school district. The demographic of her class is not very diverse. Most parents of her students have some kind of college background or higher college degree. She does have some students with IEPs for learning needs. Then you have Mrs. Z, who teaches in a Title I school in an urban school district. Her class is very diverse with at least 50% of English language learners. Most parents of her students have no education to a high school diploma or a GED. Gang violence is a culture that dominates and distracts the learning environment on a daily basis. Without a doubt, both sides of the argument would agree right away that each of the teachers' challenges are different, and using a standardized teacher evaluation that includes student test scores and student opinions to evaluate them would be unfair. Until teacher evaluations can be differentiated, yielding reliable and valid data pertaining to teacher effectiveness, student achievement scores and student opinions should not be used in teacher evaluations. The use of student achievement scores and student opinions invalidates the lack of equity among schools across the nation, therefore invalidating the different challenges teachers are faced with depending on where they teach. If these components were key factors in teacher evaluations, teachers will avoid schools with challenging demographics when these are the schools that need the best and strongest teachers. Teacher evaluations reforms must be considered carefully with thorough and supporting research. Otherwise, the achievement gap will continue to widen.